Rain lashed against the glass, a relentless gray curtain that left Sarah with no escape. She stood before the elevator doors. For 8 long years, she had avoided this metal box, treating it like a cage. But today, the storm forced her to use it. Metallic groan, sealing her inside a nightmare she had spent nearly a decade running from. Suddenly, the elevator jolted violently, throwing her off balance. The lights flickered, buzzed, and turned off, plunging the small, suffocating darkness. The elevator hung suspended, like a cage hang. Sarah slammed her palm against the control panel, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. No response. With trembling fingers, she fumbled for her phone. The dim screen illuminated her terrified face as she dialed 911. The air felt thin, vanishing with every gasp. She slid down the cold wall, pulling her knees to her chest as the walls seemed to close in. Then, a voice cut through the silence from the other side of the heavy door. "Ma'am, I am Jake. I am with the fire department. Can you hear me?" The voice was calm, grounded, an anchor in the dark. "In and out," he commanded gently. Sarah mirrored his rhythm, focusing entirely on the sound of his steady breathing. For 30 minutes, the darkness was held at bay by that single, human connection. Finally, the doors were pried open, flooding the space with a harsh lobby light. Jake stood there in his heavy gear, his face tired but kind. He reached out a gloved hand. Sarah took it, her hand shaking violently as he pulled her out onto the solid floor. "You were braver than you think," he said softly. Sarah looked at him, her breath finally returning. "I don't feel brave," she whispered. Jake stood up as his radio crackled with a new dispatch, duty calling him back into the storm. He slipped a small business card into her palm. "You called for help," he said. "That is the hardest part." He turned and vanished into the rain. Later, sitting in the safety of her car, Sarah checked her phone. Her friend Emma asked how her day was. Sarah looked at the spot where the fire truck had been and chuckled. Let us just say, it felt like it was raining men today. She flipped the card over to find Jake had written, "Next time you ride an elevator, remember, you have already survived the hardest one." Sarah smiled. Maybe it was the beginning of a love story, or not.